So Eddie Hearn has put the word out that he's looking to make Subriel Matias versus Pitbull Cruz if, in fact, Subriel is to get past Liam Perot. Because let's face it, those of us who know that Liam Perot is the real deal and he's no easy touch for anyone. So, and if you don't know, go check out what he did to Montana Love. So, again, this is assuming that Subriel gets past Liam Perot. Isaac Pitbull Cruz is out there now, and Eddie Hearn is saying he's open to making the fight and he's open to work with PBC. Let's listen to what Eddie Hearn had to say about making the fight. And this video appears courtesy of Fight Hub. Subscribe to Fight Hub TV for the latest in boxing news.
Cruz, Puerto Rico, Mexico unification fight.
But that is the perfect example, right? How good is that fight?
Very good.
I mean, by the way, firstly, he's got to beat Liam Perot.
Yeah.
Who's a really good fighter. And I feel a bit bad for Liam because everyone's talking about Subriel, the bogeyman of the division, the most, Liam can really fight. Firstly, if Matias was to win, Subriel Matias against Isaac Cruz is an absolute thriller. Mexico against Puerto Rico. Do you know how easy it is for me to go to PBC and say, I don't even know if they've got Cruz actually wrapped up, but I presume they have. If they have, yeah. So I would say, guys, let's do a co-promotion. It's on Amazon Prime and on DAZN, right? It's not a massive pay-per-view, but it's, it's going to do a good gate. It's going to do a good crowd. We'll share the pay-per-view revenue for the fighters. Boom. You know what I mean? But I just don't think they unless they get to a point where they have to start doing that, I don't think they're going to do it. But if Matias comes through, I mean, Hitchens could be mandatory as well, but that's a massive unification fight. Mexico against Puerto Rico. And it's such a good fight.
Can't think of a bigger Puerto Rico-Mexico fight in boxing right
Belanga Munguia, Belanga. But again, in terms of 50-50 matchups for world championships, that is a thrilling fight.
So, I mean, out the gate, I'm going to disagree. I think if you put Subriel Matias in there with Pitbull Cruz, I think low-key, that pay-per-view is going to do good numbers. I mean, I'm going to predict over 200,000 pay-per-view buys, and that's not bad when you factor in the lack of publicity that Subriel and Pitbull Cruz gets compared to some of their counterparts. So, and I'm just saying the interest in that fight is going to be based on the history of Puerto Rico versus Mexico, the great legendary fights that we've had from that rivalry. And then you're going to look at how all the great Mexican fighters of the past are going to show up and be behind Pitbull. All the great Puerto Rican fighters of the past are going to show up and be behind Subriel. And you look at the potential for the promotion. And then you're talking about two exciting fighters who deliver in the ring. Look at what Pitbull Cruz just did to Rolly. Completely obliterated Rolly, annihilated Rolly, beat the dog snot out of Rolly. And then you have Subriel, who's made a name for himself by preventing others from wanting to mention his name. So I'm just saying, I do think that fight would do surprisingly well, given the history of Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Plus, these are two exciting fighters that the public generally wants to see. So I do think that would be a big fight. I'm happy to hear that Eddie Hearn would be open to making that fight. I think possibly, hopefully, PBC would be willing to make that fight. But if they're not, Pitbull Cruz needs to understand you're the boss at the end of the day. You decide. If you feel like that's the fight that's best for you, then you should demand it. And so maybe that's one for us to take the turkey out of Sheik and see if he wants to front the money for this fight. But I think this fight has great potential. It's exciting. And out of the other champions at 140, I do think that Pitbull Cruz may be the one willing to step up and fight Subriel because he's looking for big paydays. But also, I don't think that he has the stigma of taking a loss, ruining his career, because he took a loss to Javante and he got popular off the loss because of how he performed. So I think Pitbull Cruz is one who's been through the ringer and understands that losing isn't career suicide. It's how you perform in the loss. It's how you lose that determines whether or not people are going to want to see you again. People want to see Pitbull Cruz. Even Subriel Matias suffered a loss. Now, again, people look at that stoppage. It was a questionable stoppage. And at the time, the fight was close. So if the fight wasn't stopped, we don't know how it would have happened. But Subriel made sure he rectified all that by destroying and annihilating his opponent in a rematch. And so again, he's someone who also understands that a loss doesn't necessarily define your career. So we have two guys I think would be willing to step in the ring, and I hope that they can make it happen. Let me know what you think about Pitbull Cruz versus Subriel Matias. You think it's a big fight? Do you think it would be an exciting fight? I think of all the other champions at 140, when you think of Devin and you think of Tio, I think star power, yes, they have more star power than Pitbull Cruz and Subriel. But I think the best fight that could possibly be made at that division may be Subriel versus Pitbull Cruz in terms of entertainment value and bang for your dollar. But let me know what you think in the comment section. I appreciate you checking out this video. If you've been watching for a while and you haven't subscribed yet, why not? What are you waiting for, man? Since this isn't marriage, man, you're not committing to nothing. Just hit the subscribe button. Appreciate all the support. Thank you. I'm out. Peace.